agenda amendments, council? Moving on. Minutes, October 8th, 2018, regular meeting.
I move we approve the minutes as written for October 8th, 2018.
Second.
Move second. Any further discussion on the minutes, council? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Payroll voucher number 18-10, October wages and salaries.
Move we approve the payroll voucher.
Second.
Mr. Kiever, second. Any more discussion, council, on wages and salaries? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Accounts payable, October checks pre-written, October accounts payable.
I move that we approve October checks pre-written and October accounts payable. Second.
Any more discussion, council? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
I abstain.
Noted. Delinquent accounts.
On that, yes, the second name on the list. Wasn't that property occupied after that by somebody else?
And he kept it in his name for those tenants.
Okay. So that's the owner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Instead of owing taxes.
Anything else on delinquent accounts? Moving on, Kerry Smith with us tonight.
Thank you for putting me on the agenda, Council. I'm here as the owner of Lincoln Grocery, KK Smith Inc., doing business as Lincoln Grocery. I hold a cereal malt beverage license from the city, and I'm here to ask the city to consider allowing Sunday sales of the cereal malt beverage. Towns around us have it, and they've approved it, and I'm asking for consideration on that one.
What's that take to get done, Dave?
Well, first of all, it takes an agenda item, not
Not
amendment,
an amendment.
to have Kerry present, which is fine. But it's got to be an agenda item where the public has a chance to come on board about it. I think there's some history in the city on this same question, but I could be wrong, but it seemed like we had some history. Not that Not that the council is bound by history, but I just think there was a time that it was before the council. I'll have to check that out or ask Heather to check it out. And then if there's an intention or a desire of the council and mayor and council to have it be an agenda item, then a proposal can be placed before the city at the next meeting for consideration. But I think the city does need to consider. Well, first of all, it needs to be a publication that has it on as an agenda item, so the public can weigh in if they choose to. And secondly, I think it'd be good for the city to review its history on it, if there is some. And I didn't know about it until today, so I didn't get a chance to look back to see what might have come before. But I think it's important that the city at least have that information available. So, not much you can do tonight other than hear anything that Kerry wishes to present to me.
It's my understanding the state does allow cities and counties to make that decision.
That's correct.
The our local area and counties around, many have already approved it. And we are losing business to those counties and cities as far as cereal malt beverage. Plus, if they're buying groceries, they're going there and can purchase that too. So I consider it a competitive measure to equal out the competitiveness of sales potential between Lincoln, Ellsworth, Minneapolis, Salina, Beloit. They all have it and we don't.
I will let the council know that effective, is it April 1st?
April
I believe?
1st, yes.
April 1st of 2019, CMB, there's no longer going to be 3-2 beer. So he, as a CMB licensee, can sell strong beer because 3-2 beer is going to be obsolete. That was a change the state made. So with his CMB license, he's allowed to sell strong beer.
This coming April?
Mm-hmm. Distributors have already quit making 3-2 beer.
Pretty much, there's going to be a very tough situation getting supply after the first of the year.
That was the class I went to in August.
The significance of that is, of course, the state has already spoken on Sunday sales. And Sunday sales would then include the alcoholic beverage beer.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as what can get done tonight, Kerry, just needs to be put on the agenda for next month.
That the issue of Sunday sales needs to be on the agenda. And Kerry should be invited back to be here in support of it if that's his position.
So if we go ahead and pass this, then like if Biggie's opens on Sundays, they could sell alcohol on Sundays. Three Amigos could sell alcohol. Anybody in the city limits
I
could sell
think
alcohol.
I'd want to look at the difference between what you presented tonight, which is cereal malt. Biggie Biggs and Three Amigos has a state liquor license. And I don't know how, I'd have to do some research to know how that gets impacted. And whether, I assume most likely, and that will be the extent of what you would say in your ordinance, that it would apply to retail. Is that your understanding, Kerry, that it would, or are we only talking about cereal malt? Or what was?
Well, I only hold a cereal malt beverage license.
I know that's your position, but I don't know if it would impact those with state liquor license to sell other than package.
I thought they sold on Sunday if they were.
VFW does.
Yeah, but if it's to be consumed on premises, that's a different situation.
Consumed on premises is different, and liquor licenses are different depending on what class they are. VFW is a Class A club. Biggie's is a consumed on premises, so they can sell. And I believe Biggie's, they're They're consumed on
Because all of
premises.
those are both consumed on premises.
So we
and that
wouldn't do anything,
Unless Viv, if we're gonna do an ordinance, it would make sense to me to include Viv in case she changed her mind later. As far as I understand, she's not interested, but it seems like if you're gonna do an ordinance, you would wanna, but I don't know.
Does it
Without,
spell out, it wouldn't spell out a specific business, would it?
no, it would say CMB versus liquor and retail sales.
Right.
but I was just thinking if we're gonna do something, we need to make sure everything is in there for anybody that sells in the county or in the city.
However we want it
However
to be.
you want to make it.
That's where, that's what you decide. And
Well,
you can't foresee what other businesses might come in.
Right.
So you
And Viv is
obviously
an
have to treat-
occupational license.
Did you check, Heather, are they doing away with the cereal malt license? with the
No, they're
state?
not doing away with it.
They're not doing away with it, they're just going to, it can be 6-point beer. They can
Right.
sell any,
And there's different laws that he's aware of about charges, stuff that doesn't affect the city, but it affects him as a business owner,
yeah,
how much he can mark it up, and that's,
that's all state bound.
It's all state regulated.
Yeah. But I think as the city, if you open it to one, it ends up opening it to others, which I'm assuming you're okay with that, Carrie.
Yes. Yes.
It allows, if Viv wants to, it will allow her to be open. But she doesn't have to be.
Right. Anything else to add, Council?
No, I have nothing more to add. It's just
Thank you.
on the agenda at the
Yeah.
next meeting.
Carrie, I have it down in the minutes. I'll put you on the
Be
agenda.
next month.
Yeah.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Utility rates, sewer rate ordinance.
Oh,
I didn't bring it. You had sent me just to see what I got the other one. I got the other one. I'd like to address one point of these ordinances that you have, proposed ordinances that Heather prepared and sent to me, and you have in your packets. There was, and this is by way of disclosure. The ordinance refers to customers in both cases, and I think there were, and I have a citizen in my office who has questioned the way that has been interpreted, and I tend to think that she's right, and I don't think there's a problem with having it be customers. Change, the word doesn't need to be changed. I think it bears on how it has been interpreted, and Heather can talk about this because Connie talked to you about it, didn't she? And the circumstance that this permits, interpreted as customers, multiple, permits a situation where a property could be charged with the sewer service 3 times, as many as 3 times, or maybe 4 times. And I think it should provide that, and should be directed at the property, so that if there's a sewer bill, kind of like a gas bill or an electrical bill, and there's a change of ownership or a rental, that it should not be again charged for the sewer charge. I think it should attach to the property, or to the building, or to the residence, or whatever it is. And this is just a point of interpretation. And maybe Heather can address how we got started. Multiple charges on multiple ownerships.
If a house sells in the middle of the month, or 10 days in a month, 5 days in a month, one customer gets charged, the other gets charged for sewer. however it falls. If a landlord has a rental property and maybe 2 or 3 people move in or out, every one of them get a sewer charge. The question is, who gets the sewer charge if we don't do it per customer?
Well, I
Is
think
it the one at the beginning of the month, the one at the end of the month?
Whoever is the owner of record gets the sewer charge, and if they're in the
At which
process,
point in the month?
well, I think it's
At the beginning of the billing period on the 15th, or on the 25th, or at the end of the billing period on the 15th of
I
the
don't
next
think that matters as long as it's one time. It's a determination that could be when the bill has come out. If the bill has been billed to that property, that's who owes it. Now, the customers, or the buyer, the seller, the owner, the renter, can, by their agreement, determine who pays it, just like you determine who pays the electric bill at what
It's the
time.
customer. So who determines for the city who gets the charge is my question.
You have put the charge on the property by sending out the bill, the city bill that has the sewer and
To the premise is the property and the consumer is the person. And our bills go out according to that. So if somebody in the middle of the month uses electric, water, sewer, and trash, they get charged. So does the other person for the minimums, which sewer is a flat rate. It's not prorated. If we want to prorate, then we need to determine what it is per day and do that accordingly. But the ordinance needs to state that.
I don't think the city needs to get into prorating.
I
think
don't believe so either.
Whoever, whether it's the customer, the owner, the occupant, whoever gets the bill owes that bill as it relates to that property. If there's someone's coming in the middle of the month, then they have to decide by their agreement who's paying the pending city bill, which includes the sewer bill. I think what
How do you do like a transfer? Like if somebody moves out
It ends
For the
one
rentals.
account and begins a new account.
they have to call.
and then they both get charged a sewer rate?
That is how our system.
That's where the problem is.
But what agreement would determine what the city does? Do we change our billing program per people's agreement between themselves with land, home title, or whoever sells the house?
You go with what you're instructed by the parties. Please read out or please charge beginning with the next billing.
It sounds like we already do that, but because we charge a flat monthly fee for
Right.
sewer instead of, we don't read a meter for the sewer.
No.
So it is, you
But it's
either
on
have
the
it or
bill.
you don't. Right, but you either have it or you don't. It's a flat fee.
Yeah, so if you're moving in, I mean,
Yeah, it's,
still using the
yeah, there is no, it's not
disconnect.
like the electricity where you can say, go read the meter on the 10th, that's when we're closing, and bill
And you
that
230
meter reading
kilowatts.
to the old owner and,
Right.
and start fresh with the new, because it's sewer, so, yeah.
But the owner that has the bill, that got the bill from Heather,
Right.
knows to include that or have the
Well, then that's-
buyer, if they're coming, I mean, that can be done between the buyer and the seller.
Correct, but the problem is from her office's standpoint, if they come in and cancel service on the 10th of the month, and the new owner wants to begin service, the way that our system is set up, there is no way to bill a partial month.
No, you shouldn't have to, but they'll get the bill, they'll get the next bill. The bill gets paid. Either the buyer says, okay, I'm gonna be here for half a month, I'll pay half of the sewer bill, as you've got it,
Yeah.
or the owner pays it.
I guess I just don't think it's fair for us to have to worry about what their agreement says.
Well,
I guess. And
you don't have to worry about it. If you've got John Jones on there as the one that got the bill, that's who you expect to pay it
Right.
And you have to look no farther.
So maybe the change in policy should be that we don't make any changes in billing except on an even month. But then you run into the situation where if somebody's got a tenant moving in or whatever, they don't want to pay part of that person's bill.
That's between the parties.
Well,
And the owner or the person who got the bill owes the bill. If the bill doesn't get paid, that's who you go after.
right, but she's got to collect deposits and all those things when they initiate the
Well,
service.
If it's a rental situation, sure.
Well, they take deposits for ownership too, right?
No.
On an owned property, you don't?
No.
Okay.
Is there
So-
any way that, like, when you do a transfer in the middle of the month, can you, like, zero out the sewer fee?
Yeah, but I need somebody to tell me when's the middle of the month.
Right.
Some people,
Well, I mean, if it's already been billed to one person at that
we
address,
bill at one time a month. It's usually about the 23rd to the 25th. But our billing period is from the 15th to the 15th. So if someone takes ownership exactly on the 30th, that's halfway through the month. Do we bill the previous owner or the new owner? That is my question. If it's 2/3 in the month, I get it. Put it on the old bill.
Has this been a problem? I guess I didn't
No.
realize this was a problem.
Not
I didn't
until
know it was a
recently.
problem either.
Not until recently.
But it can
With one person, I've had a problem.
hypotheticals can be determined that turn into a problem. But I don't see why it should be a problem. If the bill is billed the way it would normally have been, if there were no transaction at all, you've got somebody that's on the hook for the bill. If they want to work out how to pay it, that's between them. The city doesn't even have to be involved in that.
You've only had one person complain about this,
Yes.
and the city council spending how much time talking about pleasing one person?
Yeah.
This
How much
is not
is this?
about a person.
If only one
This
person has a problem
This
with
is about
it.
how we're changing if the ordinance.
I
needs
know
to
what
be
you're
changed.
talking about, I understand what you're talking about, but still, it
The
has never been a
15
problem
for
before.
residential. Exactly.
It's crazy.
So be it, it's over $15.
That's the way I see it. If you're changing property and all that, $15 is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to get involved in splitting hairs over it.
I don't think you should either.
I agree.
It's a matter of interpretation. So what have you instructed Heather as to the interpretation? The words can stay the same.
Yes, I would just instruct to continue as it has
You've
been.
doing it. Yeah.
Ah,
I agree. I agree.
That answers the question.
If that's a problem for somebody, they can come and talk to the council about it.
I had one question on, if we're ready to move on to a different question on these. Is that okay? I know we had said that we wanted to make the, which was it, the water rate adjust annually for the next 5 years?
No, that's sewer.
Sewer. Is that,
It would have to be, it'll be a new ordinance.
we gotta redo it every year to
Yes.
do that? Okay.
As we did the water when we got our water line.
Just-
grant.
Didn't know if there, okay. That was my question.
What's our ordinance number?
720.
720.
is that for sewer?
Yes,
What again? 720.
720.
I move we approve ordinance number 720, establishing new rates for sewer services provided by the city of Lincoln Center.
Second.
Any more discussion, council? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Water rates.
Didn't you say last month that our water rates were in the average since we've raised them when we did the water lines? Will this put us above average?
Barely. Not too much, but right there. with the increase was in thought of the water line project that we applied for a grant to help fund it.
And isn't part of the idea there that this action will show that we're doing everything we can to be able to take care of it to improve our chances for the grant?
Yes.
Yes.
As unpopular as it's going to make this office, yes.
Well, it also keeps it from being like last time where Rick's had to go overnight too. What was that?
721.
721. I would move that we approve ordinance number 721 for water rate increase.
I second it.
Any more discussion, council, on the water rate ordinance? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on, solid waste resolution number 18-07, increase fee to $16.20.
I move we approve resolution number 18-07.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion, council? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on, personnel, Christmas holiday allowance.
After the auditors were here and they had a problem with the chamber bucks not going through payroll, through the auditors, my computer programmers, Digger, and myself, we figured out a way to make the $25 in chamber bucks go through payroll. So it will still be chamber bucks, so we give the employees the $25 will be taxed. So it will please the auditors. So I was questioning if the council still wanted to give the employees $25 in chamber bucks.
Is that the amount that we've been given for a while?
Yes.
I think we ought to increase it to $30 to offset the taxes that's going to be taken out of their Christmas gift.
With that, we would give the employee in a income, it will say $27.07, and a deduction of $25, so that $2.07 of taxes will be paid. So I've got it so they'll get their $25.
Okay.
How many years has it been at $25? Do you know?
Ever since we've been getting it, 5, 8 years, it's been the same.
Well, it's been longer than that.
Has it? I don't know.
When I first started, I think it was at $25.
It has never changed. It's been the same. So since the beginning, whenever that was.
What's a ham cost? I don't buy groceries.
You
But-
should ask your wife.
Well,
Should ask
she's
Carrie
not
when
here.
he was in here.
Depends on where you buy it.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. My thought process here is if a $25 Christmas gift, 10, 15 years ago, maybe we ought to revisit our amount and think about buying the whole ham instead of just half.
Just a shoulder.
I don't know.
Well, whatever dollar amount you figure out, I can call the auditor back and she'll have the magic number.
Work it
for me.
out.
She'll be able to tell me. She was just
I mean-
very pleased to hear from me and hear that we were changing.
I'm glad they won't lose sleep this year.
Right. $2.07 per employee. There's 13 of us.
This came up when we had our little rec meeting this summer, that we have city employees that are rec employees that feel like they get left out because they don't get a chamber bucks from the city.
The
when
rec
we-
director does every year.
That's not what we were told in our meeting.
I'm letting you know. Yes, they do. It comes out of the rec fund.
Okay.
I just wait for them to tell me, and I hope they tell me before this payroll. Because I would like to run it through this payroll, because a deduction will come out that I give the chamber money so they can give the employees the money so they can actually use the money for Christmas ham or turkey or whatever they wish.
Do we have to have the rec board tell you that, or can we tell you that?
That's the way it's been in the past, so you tell me.
Well, if it's coming out of their budget, they're in charge of their own spending, so I suppose they need to make that decision.
Yeah, don't open that can of worms.
Well,
Jeez.
it was just brought up at our discussion that we did not include her.
That's not true. I can show you paperwork.
Well, I didn't know, so I just wanted to make sure we didn't exclude anybody this year.
We have never, until this meeting, they set the wages, they set everything. So when they finally told me, sometimes it wasn't until January, but they follow usually what the council does. The board has in the past.
You might give them a heads up that they need to get that decided and reported in a timely fashion. I certainly wouldn't be against increasing this.
Yeah.
Not exactly sure where we should set it.
$40 is what I had in mind.
That sounds pretty good
I
to me.
think that's probably about in line with what it was intended to be.
10 years of cost of living increases. I'd make a motion to increase the chamber bucks Christmas gift to the city employees to $40 and have the smart kids at the auditor's office figure out what that actual number's going to be.
$2.07.
House 25.
Yeah.
Are you including the rec, Jeff?
Nice try. No.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any more discussion on the chamber bucks allowance raised to 40? All in favor? Any opposed? Noted. Moving on. Airport, Kinder Morgan, right-of-way consideration and update.
You made it.
I did make it.
When I talked to Clay about coming to the meeting of this item, he was in Nebraska, which isn't very far away, I guess. He's out here. I think Clay can report on the status of the construction work that's been underway at the airport. When we get to the item consideration, I guess that's before update, doesn't matter what order, but I would ask the mayor please to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss matters that are protected by the attorney-client privilege. These would involve potential negotiation, but in any event, it should be dealt with, at least to be discussed in executive session for that reason.
Do you want to give the update first, Clay?
Sure. The dirt work is completed on the main structure of the runway. The grass is planted. As some of you have probably gone by, it's nice and green out there now. We got that done right before the rain. We are in the process, and with the rain, has pushed back the cleanup around the outer edges and borrow pits and things like that. And hopefully those will be done shortly. They were supposed to come in today and drive around out there with the four-wheeler and a GPS and do the final survey on the actual runway construction, and so they know how much dirt was moved to match that up to what the bid was. And so that's kind of the point we're at right now. I think Jess has got most of the electrical work done, putting the new electrical line in. I know they powered it up to the office area, and I don't know if they got that final connected or not. I don't think so. You know, he was waiting on weather and some other things there, so. But they're getting close there with that portion of it. But it's coming along very well. I was out there the other day after all of the rain, and some of the steep slopes, there's some small erosion, but very little. Real happy with being able to get that in and it to come up as quick as we did, and the rain to come the way it did. So, but the main structure is actually, that is what it is. It's done now. So we're just in that cleanup process as far as the outer edges and things at this point in time. So, and them getting their equipment out here eventually.
I've seen they've been moving some equipment out, it looks like.
Yeah. They did get the one that they caught on fire moved a little bit.
Anything else to add on that?
Not at this point in time.
Well, I entertain the motion then for, would you say client
Well, you have to go into executive session,
How much time?
20 minutes.
With Dan and Heather in attendance.
And
Clay.
And
And
Clay.
Clay. I'm sorry. Yes, and
For 20 minutes?
You got the right language, Heather.
Yeah,
Okay.
attorney-client privileges.
To discuss matters that would be protected under the attorney-client privilege.
For the
20 minutes.
negotiation.
Well, no, that's, of course, it could be part of it. That makes reference to a matter involving Kinder Morgan, so you don't have to.
I have to have a reason in the clause.
What?
I have to have the reason in the clause.
The reason for the executive session is to discuss matters that would be protected by the attorney-client privilege. And that involves potential negotiations with Kinder Morgan, as stated in the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion, council? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're moving on with no action taken, so. Pool report and requests.
I compiled a list of a wish list for the 2019 pool season. Most of it's pretty general. I don't know what it would cost. I don't know if the city could do it or if we'd have to hire somebody. But the pool really needs sandblasted. It has layers and layers and layers and layers of paint, and within a month after the pool opens, it's hard to tell what's algae and what's paint missing because it's so thick it just chips off. So we kind of need to go back and start over, and then use some good quality pool paint. The report that City Hall put together showed we had a good season. We had more expenses and we had higher wages because there was days that the pool was so busy we had to pull in an extra lifeguard because they didn't feel like the 3 that were normally there were safely watching it. So we didn't sell enough snow cones to make it profitable yet this year. So, and then there is an email that Kelly Larson sent to Heather and I this morning about, I guess maybe you knew ahead of it about this beforehand.
Thursday about 4:47.
There is a grant coming up for swimming pools. So we would fall under the requirements if we would like to do this.
What do you mean by requirements? Because there's still questions that will be answered.
Well, I mean, as far as LMI status, the population for the community,
But it's for a new pool,
well,
not repairs.
right. Well, it says construction.
And reconstruction or construction for communities that don't have a pool, or demolition and reconstruct the pool you have. It's not for repairs.
I know.
So you're talking about a whole new pool in the general fund.
Oh, we get $1 million.
And I'm sure there was
Half. This is
a match,
constructor, 50/50
Yeah, we
match.
have
50-50 match. Yeah, I'm sorry, I took the wind out of your sail.
Well, I'm just saying that it's.
I'm packing my stuff up.
Come on.
I'd rather have water lines.
I'd rather have water and sewer.
Me too.
Okay. All right. Well then, we need to look into getting the pool sandblasted. I mean, we really do. And I know.
We need to find out quotes first because it was not put in the budget. So if it's going to be, we've already overspent our park and pool budget this year by $37,000.
But
Or wait,
it was more.
137%.
It was more a lot of mowing, extra mowing than just the pool.
Correct.
Overspending
But they're in the
that.
same fund, and they got to share.
What if we don't want to share?
You
I
know,
mean, some people don't share nicely.
Then the city will get a letter for the grass being too tall and we'll have to
Right.
mow.
So we do need to take that in consideration because I planned on more rollover when I did budget.
And that's fine. And I don't know who does this. I mean, I
I have no idea either, but if you want to research it and, give numbers, and I don't know if the city is capable of it. I have no idea, and I don't know what it would cost.
Sandblasting?
I don't
No.
think we have time. We've
Okay.
gone around like chickens
Or
with
a
their head cut off
sandblaster.
at that season.
They've got portable air
Sandblaster.
compressors.
is there somebody in Salina that does it?
I just call pool places. They probably know.
Okay.
Pool places.
But I think it's something we need to check and see if it's in our budget and we can afford it.
Okay. I'm not against calling and getting bids.
Because do you remember, we did not transfer $30,000 out of the water fund with the transfers last month to keep money in the water fund for the potential of getting the CDBG grant for matching funds. So that's $30,000 less in the general fund. And there's a lot of topics under general. Park and pool, streets, street lighting, cemetery, just general fund expenses in itself.
I agree with you down there. Something needs to be done.
I
'Cause there's
agree.
some tile issues down there.
Yeah, and I don't know if we can just take all that tile off. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
It
because
may
there
need
is
to be
some,
redone. I mean, it can be fixed. It's
Right.
fixable.
and there is some loose. I mean, that's on my report, but
We've patched them along for a long time, and they've gotten by. but
and it's
getting
it
to
really.
the point. Something needs to be done.
And
with it.
really, the tile's not the concern. It's when you're trying to and I was down there brooming this summer myself, so I know because, you know, you like, oh look, there's black. So you're brooming because you think that's algae growing, and you broom it like 3 days in a row, and you're like, why is this not going away?
And it's concrete.
And it's concrete missing, and it is hard to tell. So that would be my main thing for spending money on the pool for next year.
I think that's a good recommendation.
Yeah, so we could research it. Because if we start the research process and then we've got some numbers together before the 2020 budget is done, then we'd have something we could work with to make some decisions. But
Well, and if it's not going to be that much, maybe get it done before
Well,
pool season.
probably not this year, even given the reasons she just said, because the 2019 budget's done. We left $30,000 in the water fund that normally gets transferred to prepare for that project. So,
But
and
if we don't get that grant,
overspent that category. Yeah, but it's not in the general though.
No, it wasn't transferred.
So even if we don't get the grant, the money's still not in the general.
And we will not hear about the grant awards until the middle of January, and the calendar year is shut for transfers.
okay.
Any chance Hanson would chip in on a project like that? Rehabbing the pool?
Or post rock.
I don't know.
You've had good luck in the past.
I just feel like if we research it and have some numbers by February,
Yeah,
we would know where we're sitting, where we're looking at, because by then I'll have the year-end numbers to know just how bad we are. Because when I budget and start the process in June, I'm only a half a year in. And then we had rain and mow and mow. So what I projected to roll over is not going to happen. I already know that. So I'm already starting less than what I anticipated. And then I didn't move 30,000. Now this is general fund as a whole.
Right.
So we could probably rob another funds, but if we had the research and the numbers, then we'd know where we sit, and we need to do it soon enough because the guys run around crazy trying to get the pool ready.
And
So-
if they could do it beforehand, and
Before we're running around and everybody's bumping into everybody, oh, you can't paint because we're sandblasting.
I think we're going to have to hire somebody to do that anyway, so we just need to know what's going to cost.
okay, I'll make some
Well,
phone
and
calls.
my suggestion would be on that, if you're gonna get a number from them on the sandblasting, let's get a number from them on sealing it afterwards too.
Yeah.
And get
Oh,
it
yeah.
done once
Ready to
professionally
go.
instead of having it be an annual event.
So have them paint it.
Yeah, find out what they would recommend to follow up after the
To
sandblast.
fix the tile and the
Yeah,
sandblasting and
do the prep and get
Yeah.
it done.
Okay, and I'll have them break it apart in the bid so we know whether
The
the
good
guys
news is-
painting it
Yeah.
would save us oodles versus them painting it.
The good news is this time of year, pool guys probably have time to drive out here and look at it. Probably not real busy.
I think they have winter jam.
Probably would have time to
And
send
their
it.
hot tubs in the winter.
I'd rather sandblast in the winter.
Yeah, there you go.
What was the supplies, maintenance, tools, and equipment? Why was it so much higher this year than previous years?
Just asked the exact same thing. I was like, it's not high. The slide, or not the slide. No, that was in last year. The lifeguard chairs and all that. It's in there, but it's also in the grants line on the income. So
Okay, so it went into
it's
that.
a wash.
It went in and came
And
out,
then
I think.
another question I've got is, I know, wasn't it in 17 when we spent like $10,000 digging holes down there looking for leaks?
Yeah.
No, that's
Or was that
16.
16? Where's that money at on here?
No, it wasn't. I'm looking.
Yeah, it was 16.
I think it was 16.
we
Engineering fees, it was only 2,200. See the engineering fees on 16? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, but that didn't account for the man hours and equipment and all
It
that
would
doing the
be
digging, was it?
in the salaries. That's why it was
Okay.
the 10.
And I thought it was, if you look at the concession supplies versus the cost, in 2016 we made $473. In 2017 we made $957. And in 2018 we made $1,600 just on concessions.
Yeah, well, if,
So that tells you
How many more people?
how many more people are at the pool.
yeah, if you take the grants out, there was a 20% increase year over year in receipts. So,
And
And
we're
there
getting
was-
money from lessons now.
and there was, what, 40% increase the year previous, so 2018 revenues nearly doubled 2016's. So I'd say it's
Turned around.
in much better condition. On the health insurance on here, is that the health insurance portion of the city crew
Yeah.
wages when they're down there? Okay.
And I also noticed that the phone cost was a lot less this year. And we didn't even charge a quarter for them to use the phone.
They were using the pool phone to call the employees on their cells, which was long distance. To tell them, like, not to open. That's the only thing I can think of. There was more long distance down there.
And see, like I use the pool phone when I call to say, just remind you, lessons start tomorrow. I didn't use my personal cell phone for that. I use the pool
You
phone.
shouldn't, because it makes it an open.
Yeah. And I thought, well, that's not.
I don't know the reason behind it.
But that was another thing that kind of caught my eye.
At 10 cents a minute, that was quite a bit of extra talking. Or I don't know how much they charge.
I don't know. I'd say it was a good pool season.
I think so. Anything else on pool report and requests? Moving on, Jerry Jensen Memorial Field. I had this last month. I think you got these open. Yeah. For the Jensen family, had got that made and is wanting it. I know we've discussed doing some work down at the field as far as some concrete work to keep the water from jumping the curb and washing the field out, because there was a couple times before ball games we almost canceled because it took a rut out through the field when we did get a bunch of rain. And I don't know how much money that was donated by the family or the memorial money.
32 or 3,700.
And I'm in the process of getting, basically what I'm wanting to do is to build 2 columns, like brick or stone columns, with that plaque on the left or right hand side, on the corner, like where the gate is now, so it's facing on the corner. And we're going to have to do a little bit of concrete work to keep the water from jumping and going into the, which it's been a problem anyway. Something needs to be done with it.
Constant problem.
Yeah, it's a constant problem down there. So I kind of want to I know that's not a lot of money. I mean, I'm going to donate some of this money as far as putting the brick and that stuff up. But I think the city needs to consider maybe putting a little money into it as far as doing the concrete work to reroute the water as far as going down there. And Jess and I are still trying to come up with an idea how we can reroute it, and whether we work together, as in my guys and his guys do the concrete work, and so we can save some money and so we can get this memorial done, because it says dedicated in 2019, which I was going to bring up.
That's next year.
Yeah, I know. So we need to. I would like to get something rolling on this project, and I will
We
come
need to
up.
kind of
With,
hurry, because you know it takes a while.
Jess and I will come up with some better numbers as far as what it's going to cost. And
When do they start using the softball field for the school?
it's in March.
February.
February.
Really?
They use it the second week in February for practice. Usually about the 14th meter reading time, they transfer it in their name, and they've usually used it a couple of days before that with no services.
So I mean, it's something that we need to get rolling on here in the next, at least January, February-ish, weather permitting. But I will try and have some really good budget numbers or what it's going to cost by next meeting. So just an update of where we're at on that.
So agenda item for next month.
Agenda item. We will have a budget number. Nuisances.
Not nuisance season.
Nuisance, yes.
This is past nuisance.
I haven't heard anything on that one, so.
I have talked to Jess lately about it. I know there's quite a few still out there.
Yeah, we didn't have much to say on any of that. City attorney,
I have nothing more.
city clerk.
Well, I wanted to update the council that all your city crew and city office were CPR and first aid trained, certified. Two different separate classes. We did them between October and November. So we're all certified, and with renewals due in 2 years. So if anybody calls out, don't look at me. Other than that, I go to City Clerks Institute for training. I will leave tomorrow afternoon, and I will be back Friday.
And what about what you got nominated for? You're not going to bring
Well, it's
that
not
up?
going to bring that up.
Oh, I think we should.
Are you
I don't
nominated
know
for
what it
super
is.
clerk?
Not yet. That's up to the mayor. He got an email about it, or a letter. It was with your check.
I didn't get no letter.
Yeah, he did. It's attached to your check. I threw it away.
No, you didn't hand me my check. Deirdre did. I never got
Oh,
no
she
letter.
threw it away.
Yeah, she might have.
I
did not
got
get a
called by
letter.
the city clerk of Phillipsburg. I was nominated by 8 different city clerks across the state of Kansas to be on the CCM FOA Board of Directors, which that stands for City Clerks and Municipal Finance Officers across Kansas, to be on their board of directors. I'll start out, they'll put you on a committee, and there will be I'm sure they'll give a press release for me to bring home. But I get nominated officially. That's why I was on the fence on whether to go to school, and they told me, well, now that you accepted, you have to go. And I said, this is a really bad time of month. So I'll officially be nominated, and then I will take office in March, representing city clerks across the state of Kansas. And it's kind of a big honor for a small town.
It's a really big deal.
Congratulations.
But I already said no, so.
Just response, but
I said congratulations.
Because you wanted to pay right.
he
That's
said,
what she's going
how
next.
much work are you going to miss? That was what he said, not congratulations. I was like, it's the same as I'm doing now. I go to school in the spring and the fall, and they said there's maybe 1 or 2 more meetings, and if I couldn't drive in attendance, they will do a phone because I'm part of the vote. But this committee sets up the education that teaches new clerks, whether they're a huge city or a small city. We set up the education, and we help with mentoring and helping other small town and large town new city clerks. And so,
And I think it helps us too with you building networks between the other
Yes.
cities. So I think it's great.
Tell me again what those initials stand for.
city clerks and municipal finance officers.
Municipal Finance. Let's see if I'll read my abbreviations when I get home.
Association.
Association. Okay. Gotcha.
And her title will be Grand Poobah.
Well, Tiny Poobah.
Tiny, yeah.
Annually, every year, they send out letters to mayors about promoting your city clerk for clerk of the year, because they're always looking for new clerks. And as its seasons have changed and me going to school, I've seen the older generation retiring, and I'm now that older generation.
Oh my gosh!
I'm serious.
I must
With
be dead 20 years ago.
Well, with experience and years on the job, I'm one of the older generation. And there's all these really young clerks that have never done anything like that coming in. Never had
Never done a budget or anything.
no. And so I'm now one of those seasoned older clerks. It's-
So you're no longer at the top of the hill, you're,
I'm going down.
I think she just said she's never going to screw up again. Congratulations.
Thank you.
hey, I think the mayor ought to fill out that paper for you.
No, I
Yeah, I'd like to see the paper that
Nominate
you
you
said
for
I
clerk
got.
of the
'Cause
year.
I did not get a paper. It was not on my check.
okay.
But I'll talk to your employees about that.
Oh.
Just stick it in that stack of checks, have him sign it, and you can fill it in.
I'm probably just going like
I'm just gonna
that.
go out on a limb and say you probably fill out a better application than the mayor.
Well, it
would
comes
agree with
from
that.
letters from your council and community members and mayor. It's not just your mayor, but
I agree
Well,
with you.
I think you missed your window of opportunity to raise water and sewer rates.
I know I'm not going to be very famous
You're
around
going to be very
here.
popular.
No,
Anything else, Heather?
that's it.
City Superintendent report. I visited with Jess a little bit the other day, and I don't want to be the one to ask for this, but he wanted me to bring up, he was going to ask for a day off the day before Christmas for his city employees, the day before Christmas and the day before New Year's, with pay. I think they both fall on a Tuesday. And the reason he was going to ask this month, he's going to be here next month, but he said that way people that got vacation time or, and I know last year we gave off what?
We swapped days last
Yeah,
year.
we still give it, we swapped days, on Friday or a Monday instead of a whatever, Thursday or whatever, however it fell.
But this would add to, this would.
See, they're
add
going
to
to get
the
the
number of
Monday
paid
off.
days off.
They'll
though,
have
right?
Monday, Tuesday, which Tuesday's the holiday, they'll have
Right.
Monday off instead of,
It would add an extra holiday.
Right, it'd add 2 extra.
Right, one in 2018 and one in 2019,
Right.
calendar year.
right, which we've done in the past, we have done in the past. And he couldn't be here tonight. He was going to ask for it next month, but he said, I know a lot of guys are wanting to, or asking for vacation, or wanting to use some of their vacation time up before the end of the year. So they were, that way they could schedule some extra days or, so.
I would move that we approve that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion, council, on the day off before Christmas and the day off before New Year's? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Noted.
If you're in conversation with the rec board, you might want to tell them what the city did so they don't feel.
I can also make mention of it.
Oh.
I made a note.
I was gonna call Lori tomorrow.
Okay. I don't want them to say they weren't aware.
Okay, I'll put that on my note when I call Lori tomorrow.
Governing body? No. 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 Okay.
Well, there's a woman that calls the psychiatrist's office to make an appointment for her husband. The doctor says, what seems to be his problem? And she says, well, he thinks he's a refrigerator. And the doctor thinks for a moment and finally says, well, there's a lot of people that have these minor delusions. I really wouldn't worry about it unless it seems to be interrupting his daily routine. She says, well, it's not bothering him, but it's bothering my daily routine. And he says, oh, how's that? He says, well, he sleeps with his mouth open. That little light's keeping me up all night. Move we adjourn.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
New year coming, Jack, you'll have some new jokes.
Yeah, new jokes.
Lisa, did you or no?
I did.
You all have a good evening.
I can't promise it any better.